Berarti kan yang pakai TOS. Bisa lihat. Terus itu bisa. Nggak lupa nih kan. Bisa. Sudah juga. Namanya. Eh, Udah di. Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alright. So today I will to be first in WTT. You can teach how. The speaker is Faisal. Faisal, you introduce yourself.
Okay, wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Before that, I want to introduce myself first. My name is Faisal Ahmad Bani, and currently I am a student of 10th grade, especially DKV major in IDN Boarding School Jonggol.
Okay. Um, I will talk about the topic of what it is, how this how to make consistent UI style by Figma. Okay. First, maybe I will ask you about, can you tell us a bit about your experience in creating the UI style guide people?
Okay, so what your question before is about my experience on making the UI style guide in Figma. So before that, I want to tell you guys a little bit about the UI style guide. So what is actually a UI style guide in Figma? So in every UI UX creation, there must have a style guide or what we call a design system. So it's kind of like a collection of variables and assets that we use on one design so that we can create the design seamlessly and in consistent ways. So that, example, if you see on some applications like Gojek, for example, or Google, you may see that the buttons are always similar. Like the search button on the first screen and then the second screen will always be similar. Unless they are using a style guide or a design system, because a simple way to make your design more consistent and also to make your design more seamless and clean so that your design won't be cluttered. And for my experience about making a UI style guide, there is a lot starting from when I was young, starting from junior high school. I try and experimenting myself with making different types of style guides. But when I entered DKP major in vocational high school, I learned more about UI style guide, and it's actually very important in our designs to make our UI design more consistent and clean. Okay.
Okay. Okay, next, maybe I will ask you again, what the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear UI style guide?
Okay, so especially as myself that is already uh, ex- have some experience about making UI style guides. So the first thing that comes into mind when hearing the word UI style guide, yeah, basically as the name itself, style. So the style of the application that is mostly used, is the style direction going to be clean, or is it more fun and more about illustrations and other stuff, or is it more about clean, aesthetic, and seamless in UI designs? Maybe that's it.
Okay. So, um, what about the basics and purpose? What's the main purpose of the UI standard in a design project?
And for the purpose on making the UI style guide, as I have told you before, because UI style guide is important on every UI designs because to make your designs look consistent so that the users that use the application won't be confused on the style or the direction that the application is giving, like the buttons, for example, or even the input fields such as the search bar or also the back buttons and others. If it looks different on every, the user will be confused. Why is it different in every single page? I thought it's going to be the same or at least seamless. So that's the purpose.
Uh, you already explained the UI standard. Um, let's continue to practice. Okay. So,
Okay. So I would like to share my. So here, before that, I want to show one of the examples of the UI style guide that I have created. So in one of the projects that I have made for a competition, so here you can see a little bit about the style guide that you're going to see. So here on the UI, you can see there is some buttons, right? If we click, and it looks the same. This button and this button. That's the use for the style guide. Okay, here's the example for the UI style guide. So the first one that we learn is about UI style guide. That's a version of a design system. So a design system is much more complicated and also has a lot more assets, components inside. So usually when we try to create a UI style guide, there are three types that we have to pay attention. So the first is about the colors that we use for the application. Uh, That we choose the colors based on the primary color, secondary color, additional colors, and also text or grayscale. Then the second is about the typography. So here we choose the font that we use for our application. This is important so that the users won't feel confused and can able to read our applications easily. And the maximum for choosing a font in applications or making design is only two types of fonts. And make sure the font is sans serif or the, like this. This is a sans serif font that is more easy for the user to read our application or the text that is shown on the application. So there are three types of fonts, but the most used type fonts are two, which is serif and sans serif. For the serif examples of fonts, you may see uh, almost everywhere on old books such as Times New Roman or Play for Display. That's just, examples of an old serif font. But sans serif, you can see it's more clean and more minimal and easier to read for screens such as this, which is the SF Pro font. And also other examples that is very popular to use by designers is Poppins, Montserrat, Inter, and other fonts, or plus Jakarta Sans. Okay, that's for the typography. That you can also make each size of the font to make. So it's easier to create the design so we don't have to make it one by one. And the last is about components. As I said before, like the buttons and also others. That this is one of the most important things to make on a UI style guide. So that all the buttons that we create on the UI design is consistent and also stays the same. Okay, that's the example that I want to give kind of the example on how to make the style guide. So first, maybe we can go on to making the first one, which is the colors. We can create a section here or a frame first. And then we rename it as our colors. So here, one of the most easiest ways for you guys to choose a color first is to decide first what primary color should you guys use on your application. And the colors are based and depends on the theme of the application you are making. Such as, for example, if you are making a e-wallet application, you it usually uses the color blue. So we can choose the main color here, can add a rectangle and then choose the main color that we want to use. Like example, maybe this type of blue. Okay, after we have decided the main primary color, we can close this. And after that, we can open one of the plugins that I use for searching the other colors is this, which is Foundation Color Generator. So it generates different type of shades, different types of shades of the color that we use. So just wait a little bit for the plugin to load. And then after that, it will show types of colors that you can use based on the different design systems that we follow. Like there is material colors and others, as you can see here. But what I usually use is material design color because it's mostly used. Or if it's too much, we can use Atlassian. And so we can choose the color here, select, hold on, choose the color and then click select, select this color that we want to use. And here it has already automatically made the styles or the types of colors that we need to use with the different shades starting from the darkest to the lightest. You can change the name here to then create styles. So from this plugin, it's very useful because it automatically adds the style to our design file. And then we can add the tokens here or the palette. Then here is the design color. So we can add it to our design. And because of the plugin, it already makes the style for us here. As you can see on the right side of the bar, it automatically makes the style for us of the color. So every time you want to make a button, for example, or some elements, you can just change the color here into whatever color that you are going to choose. For example, if you want it to be a default state, you can use this, the main one. Or if it's clicked or you can choose the darkest one so that it is easier for us to make the design and we don't have to choose and find the darkest color one by one again. And it will be consistent on every design because the style has already been made. That's one of the examples for creating it, which is on the primary one. Here we can add it and creating the styles. Then you can also create another one from foundation. You can choose the secondary color, the color that you use as accents or by choosing here. Because it is blue, the second color, I think that's a good color. And make it a little bit dark. And here we can create the style, change the name to secondary. And done. Now we already have colors, which is the primary color and the secondary color. Then the additional one that you can add, as I have said before, which is the text color that we can choose. So for the text that you are making for the application, is it dark mode or light mode? If you are making a light mode, you can choose a little bit on the gray side. Here, this one is good for making dark mode, then create styles. Then we already have the text style. So that's for the as easy as that. Just need what color that you want to use. For the shades, you can just use the plugin. Okay, so now we continue. The second one, we can create and duplicate this with Command or Control D. Delete this and then change it for the typography. Now this one's a little bit tricky because you have to manually make it one by one. So I'm just going to show a little bit of the examples. So we can add some text maybe. The first is about heading one. So it depends of design that you are trying to make. If you want to make it a website for desktop users, we can use the maximum font size to be heading one, which is 64 pixels. Or yeah, we can try first for the design, exact 64. I'm going to make just three types or three examples, which is heading one, heading two, and heading three. So usually on heading one, the spacing for the line height is only 120%. And then now we can choose which font that we want to use. For example, maybe I'll choose the free one from the application, which is plus Jakarta Sans. Then we can choose the bold one first. Then if we have finished this, we can click on the four dots on the typography. Here we can create our text styles and create style. Here we can name it heading H1. And then for the type of the H1 font, add slash and then type bold. Create style, and then here it has created the style for H1, which is bold. Then after that, we can create the other ones, which is the semi-bold, which is the same as before. Add text style and then H1 slash semi-bold. And then you can do the same for the regular or medium. Do it the same way. Click the four dots and then add plus, then type H1 slash regular or medium. And then after that, the last is regular. Change here and then do the same steps like type and regular. And then here is complete. And as you can see here on the top, you can see there is already the text styles that we already added, so that on every text that we make, it immediately we can choose on which style that we want to use. And so it can make the design more consistent. Example, this is for the heading of the website or hero section, just a greetings, for example. So here, it will always stay in the same size for title, just heading one. Or we can change the type of the weight of the font, like medium, semi-bold, or bold. And you can also do this on another one here, which is heading two, example. And then you click this. Then change the font into a smaller font, maybe 48. And then create another style. This one, H2 slash bold. Then do the same for others. Like again, add again. This one, make it semi-bold, and then add it H2 semi-bold. So here, example, this text is using the H1 style, but we can change it into H2 so that it will follow the same as this size. Like here, if I choose this, it will change the size to H2. And if I change it again to H1, it will follow the size of the style before. So that's for the typography on making the consistent one. Then the next is components. So actually, I'll just show one example to make it fast. Yeah. So to make a button, one of the examples on the UI style guide, just the buttons or components. Here I'm going to make one example, which is about the button. So here we can add a rectangle, or maybe, yeah, add a rectangle. Then here you can add the text for the button, like is here, example, button. And because we haven't made a style yet, so we can choose a small size of the font. Example is, and make it bold. After that, we can lengthen the size of the box or the rectangle and make it like this. So if we have completed this, we can change the color of the button to follow the main color or the primary color that we have made. And also after that, we can select all of this and then we can do layout. And as you can see, it has already completed the auto layout. And then we can add a little bit of the radius, maybe 15. And that's it. Then after that, we can click this button up top, which is create component. So now it is a component on the file. Then we can add also some properties to make a difference or a variance of each button. So here, say the style here is default. And then also we can duplicate a text or a button style. See here, we have duplicated the button. Then we can change the color. Maybe make it as a disabled color. So we can change the color like this and the font color as the text before. dark like this. And then we can change the name of the style to be disabled. So it's kind of like the button is showing that it cannot be clicked. Then the other font or the other type or the variant is removing the color background, then add a stroke and make the stroke color as the primary color, and then change the text to the primary color. See, as we have used or made the primary color, it's easier for making components like this. So you only need to change the colors per time. And then for this button, we can change the variant name to be disabled. I mean outline, sorry. So now we have three variants of one button. So now we can take one button here for the frame for the button. Okay, so now we can take from assets created in this file and then take one. And here we can change the style of the button based on what style that we have made. So this is disabled, and then this is outline. Okay, so maybe that's it for my tutorial on making this consistent UI style guide. You guys can apply this tutorial on every UI design that you guys are making. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Faisal, for the, your practice how to make uh, consistent style guide in figma. Okay, maybe you can give some tips, just one for beginners, how to start to make consistent style guide in figma. Okay,
Okay,
so
so for me is that you guys just need to keep and try to uh, experiment as much as to make designs. So becoming a designer is a step, but doesn't always come easily or immediately you become a pro on design. No. So the thing is you have to keep trying and try to experiment on every style that you can try. And then from that you can apply and learn stuff that you learn from other people, and then you can apply the material. Okay.
okay, thank you, Faisal, for the tips for beginners how to start make consistent guide in figma. And uh, maybe now this pausing. Yeah. After you give some tutorial for um, make color style, text style, button style, and the other. Maybe that's all from me. Thank you, Faisal, for the topic you give to this perspective. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.